Neil, thanks very much. It's great to be here at RS Williams. You've been using our fuel, Sustain Classic. It's a 98 RON, 80% sustainable fuel. What does using sustainable fuel mean for the classic car industry?
I think an enormous amount, because basically we're seen as far from green, and the cars are, despite being not used much, are seen as unhealthy for the environment. And I think this is a great thing to do, to be seen, especially for the younger people, to be green. And limited use, but still it's nice to do.
Yeah, and sustainability is becoming such a big talking point
Huge.
Everywhere now. And we look at the classic car industry, typically run by the old boys.
Yeah.
What do you think that means for the younger generation?
I think they can be accepted, because at the moment I get a lot of feedback from younger people saying electric's the way to go, I don't want to drive your cars, I don't think it's right, it shouldn't be in town, all this sort of things. And if we can make it usable and sustainable, then it's something we can attract people into the market.
Yeah.
People would love to drive these cars, but don't want to be seen to be driving them, I think, because of that problem with their friends.
I think they're fantastic cars as well. They're so emotive. There's a lot of theatre around them. I think that's really lost with modern vehicles.
Oh, totally.
Now, on the technical side of it, we've spent a lot of time trying to develop these fuels to purposely be usable within the classic vehicles. I mean, what are the issues that you would associate with fuels in classic vehicles?
Well, the ethanol content is the big problem. I mean, E5 is okay, E10 is too much. We don't know how long it would be to damage the car, but basically it damages pipes, it damages seals, and it's not ideal. It's the ethanol is the problem, undoubtedly.
So we've done a lot of work removing the ethanol from the fuel, whilst keeping that sustainable component in there. And I mean, you've used it now. How did it perform? I mean,
fantastically. I mean, we dynoed an engine, and it's a very powerful engine. It was a bit of a quick road engine. We ran the engine in on normal fuel. We did the power running on normal fuel. Then we just drained that fuel out, put the can on, put your fuel in. It produced the same power. Slightly hotter exhaust temperatures, which isn't a problem. We then played with mixtures, and it didn't affect it. It didn't want any more fuel or less fuel, so it was spot on. Just had the same power.
Because
it's exactly
really encouraging to hear that feedback on the fuel. Where do you see this going? I mean, what do you want to see from this fuel? What do you want to carry on using it? And
I dearly love to use it here, but obviously accessibility is difficult at the moment. We spoke about maybe trying to get people involved by a car comes in for a service, and we send them out with half a tank of fuel. It's a gift. See what you think. If you enjoy it, if you do, then let's move forward from there.
Yeah, and we're working on supply at the moment. We're working with a number of companies around the country actually. So we're going to start off with Bicester Heritage, which is really nice. And
we would have a tank here if need be.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not a problem.
It'd be great to have something here.
And then because the dyno we run the dyno for 4 to 5 hours running in, and that's just burning fuel for running in purposes. Yeah. It'd be lovely to be running it in on something clean.
We have to be open and honest, transparent. Transparency around this. These kind of fuels are always going to be more expensive. Oil is a contentious point. It's actually quite a cheap commodity for us. So we'd hope over time it comes down.
It comes down the more accessibility and the more it's produced. But for me, as I said, most classic cars are used 1 to 3 tanks of fuel a year. And really, at the end of the day, if they have to pay double or treble, it's not going to be a problem.
And that's good. It is good point. And when you look at the annual ownership cost of a vehicle, actually the fuel's probably a relatively small amount.
Oh, tiny. And some people use a bit more, but it's very rare. I mean, some people do the trip down to France, and that's going to be difficult if they haven't got accessibility to fuel. Or do a rally or go to Le Mans.
And again, another important point around this is that these fuels are completely miscible with...
Yeah, so you can put petrol straight in. Yeah, so that's all cool.
And the car we're standing next to, but this is actually really important for today, and it's about our sustainable journey. I mean, what we can tell about...
So this is basically our demonstrator for V8, and we have everything we do on V8 on this car. So brakes, handling, engine package, exhaust, everything we do that we can offer is on this car. And we can let people drive it, we take people out in it as a sort of sales point. And I thought it would be a great idea to run this on the sustainable fuel. So I think this is the way to go.
This car that you're going to run the fuel in a bit more. What was the procedure for you to test the fuel and accept, be comfortable that something you wanted to do?
Initially on the dyno, because that's the most load the engine's ever going to see. So as I said before, we did the dyno running on normal fuel, then put the synthetic fuel in, and it produced the same power. And we take it up on the full load to 6,000 revs. So it's the most load it'll ever see. That was the initial part. Once we're happy that worked, and there were no detrimental problems with detonation or whatever, we then put it into this car. and I've driven the car for probably 40 miles now on the fuel.
And were they identical engines?
No, they're similar engine, but not identical.
Yeah,
no.
over a longer period of time, actually, these types of fuels, because of they've got very advanced additive packages in them, they keep the fuel system clean as well.
Well, that's important.
Is that something that you sometimes see when vehicles are coming in?
The biggest problem we've got is fuel degenerating over periods. So the modern fuels with ethanol, after 3 months start going off. After 6 months, they almost become unusable. And if a car stores for a year and comes to us, it almost won't start. It's like you can't even ignite the fuel when you put it on the floor. It's that bad. So if it doesn't do that, that will be a plus as well.
Yeah.